Now, Austan Goolsbee, who's currently at 32 Advisors and former Council of Economic Advisors chair under President Obama, joins us. Talk a little bit more about this process, along with Mark Bloomfield, who is CEO of the American Council for Capital Formation. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us to talk a little bit about the significance of this here. Mark, I'll just begin with you. The people are saying this paves the way for major tax reform. Would you agree?
Yes, once the genie of tax reform's out of the bottle, it's going to continue. But let me do one thing that you do rarely hear. I want to thank Austan Goolsbee for serving his country as the 26th chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors.
All right.
And Austin's wondering what you want from him. Yeah.
No, we're old friends. We're old friends.
I gather. That's okay. We'll let you guys have lunch after this, though. Austin, are you nervous at all that the Democrats are not a part of this process at all?
I'm not nervous because this was totally expected. That's what the only thing I don't understand here is why the market seems to have viewed that as positively as it was, because I don't think there was any news. It always was understood that they're going to try to pass a tax bill with no Democratic support. Mitch McConnell said that weeks ago that they were going to do that. So what happened here, this budget procedural move, was only a positive for the chances of tax reform, in the sense that if they couldn't pass this, then it was dead in the water. But I think this was totally expected, and even the magnitude was expected.
Mark, meantime, there's been some speculation about what happens over in the House with all of this as well. So, again, let me just ask you what we began with here, which is, does this pave the way for significant tax reform? What would you say the odds are now?
Oh, I think it does, and it's time for it. And my gosh, when Austan Goolsbee was in office, President Obama wanted to lower corporate tax rate. We got to tear down that wall, and I think it's on its way. I think what you've got to get that sucker over to the Senate. In other words, that moves the process, and then let's have some what Ron Wyden calls principled bipartisanship to get this thing enacted, because we all agree we need to reform our tax system, especially the corporate side.
All right, but Mark, you know, Mitch McConnell has said this will be a huge reform, simplification of the tax rolls. All I'm hearing about, though, really are just tax cuts at this point, maybe a few exemptions going away. What will be so simple about this? If, you know, I know it's very early in the process, but what are you anticipating being a simplification of the tax rolls out there?
Well, I think we talk about, on the individual sides, reducing the number of tax brackets. I think we talk about expensing for investment. I think we're reducing the corporate tax rate. I think we all agree that it's crazy to send our money overseas, our jobs overseas, complicated ways getting the money back to the United States. I think that's simplification.
Austin, would you support things like eliminating the alternative minimum tax? I mean, are there planks of this that you think are a good idea?
Well, I could support a bunch of things if they were paid for, but I think you're on exactly the right note, which is this isn't tax reform. This is just a bunch of tax cuts and giveaways. And if you add up who benefits, it's overwhelmingly to very high-income people, counting on that to trickle down and be magic beanstalk beans to grow the economy.
So you don't think middle-income earners are going to benefit at all, Austin?
I think a lot of middle-income earners may very well see their taxes go up. Some middle-income earners may see a very small tax cut, but the vast majority of the money is going to go to cutting the estate tax, cutting taxes for the biggest corporations, the highest income people, and pass-throughs, and I don't think that's what we need now. This is twice the size of the Obama stimulus, which was done at the depths of the recession, which Republicans said, no, we can't afford. This is twice the stimulus of that, and the unemployment rate's in the 4%.
I'll give you 30 seconds to answer that, Mark.
I just think that more and more economists think that the corporate tax is borne by labor, and you get economic growth, and with the economic growth, you're not going to pay for the whole tax cut, but you're going to raise the wages of Americans and get the economy growing.
That was less than 30.
That's fine. I'll owe him a few. Thank you both. Enjoy your lunch. See you later. Austan Goolsbee, Mark Bloomfield joining us. Let's get to the closing bell exchange now. As we mentioned, a pretty good rally underway today to cap off a strong week that pushed the Dow above 23,000 for the first